Hola, hi guys, how are you? Natumai mko salama. Karibuni sana to this episode. This is an episode that is very, very dear to my heart. So I'm sure you've heard the phrase be emotionally intelligent, be with an emotionally intelligent person. But the deeper question is, what does that even mean? Because when people say that, it sounds like it's a switch that we can just turn on and off, on and off. You know what I'm saying? And the question is, how do you actually become an emotionally intelligent person? So, hi, welcome to my channel if you are new here, and even if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. This is Growth Reads with Vicky, a cozy space where I read self-help books, apply them in my life, and I come on here and I share with you the lessons that I've taken away that have impacted my growth. So this video is for anyone who's tired of feeling tired of like the way they react to situations, and they're always carried by their emotions. They get angry and it gets out of hand. And if you want to understand yourself and start understanding everybody else and be able to navigate emotions, situations, relationships without your emotions clouding that, this video is for you. So before I go any further, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you do not miss an episode. So today I'm unpacking something that affects many areas of our relationships. It affects our friendships, relationships, arguments, and every moment that I've felt that I've ever reacted too fast. And emotional, this is what I like to call emotional intelligence and regulation. So I guess the first question you have is what it really means to be emotionally intelligent. Well, emotional intelligence, when I first thought about it, I thought it meant that I never got angry, I never got mad, I never got anything. But I realized that emotional intelligence did not mean that I was always calm and always kept my cool, because I'm sure that's what many people are thinking. But that's not it. Emotional intelligence to me is being aware of your emotions, validating them, or rather not validating them, seeing them as important because they're trying to tell you something. Your body is trying to tell you something through that emotional reaction, and learning how to listen to it and respond to it, so that when it's an outside factor outside of my body, I don't react out of what I'm feeling internally. So I'm gonna repeat that again. For me, emotional intelligence, I've found in my studying, is that it's not that you never get angry or sad or mad, because when people hear emotional intelligence, they don't talk about actually being happy. They talk about those moments where you are really, really angry and it got out of hand. But that's not the case. Emotional intelligence is learning how to be in tune with your body, listening to it, listening to the emotions that you're getting, because they're trying to tell you something. And then from there, you learn from them, and then you make a decision not based off that emotion, but based off of you processing the emotion, which can be very, very difficult. So it simply means being aware of your emotions, naming them, and then processing them and choosing your response instead of letting your emotions shape that. So I'm going to repeat that so that it sticks with you before we continue. It means being aware of your emotions, naming them, and then processing them, and then choosing your response instead of your response being chased by the emotion. So choosing your response outside of the emotion. So it's the difference between saying, I'm angry, let me calm down, and not recognizing that you're angry and snapping at somebody in the heat of a conversation or something. So when you name it, you're able to say, I feel like I'm a bit angry right now. Can I have a moment to calm down, and then we can revisit the conversation? You're asking for a moment so that you can you can have a moment to process your emotions. You get what I'm saying? It's being able to say, I feel overwhelmed, I feel insecure, I feel dismissed, I feel triggered, I feel misunderstood. It's just basically being able to name the emotion. So it starts with recognizing the emotion and then naming it and then processing it and then responding from a place that is not controlled of that emotion. So we are going to be asking ourselves questions like, the kinds of emotions that are there. Like I've said, there's anger, there's happiness, there's joy, there's feeling overwhelmed, there's feeling stressed, there's feeling dismissed. So many things that can trigger so many emotions, and then they end up affecting relationships instead of like building them. Like, say for example, we are having a heated conversation, you're trying to tell me something, and I'm feeling like you're not listening to me because I'm trying to also tell you something, and so we both feel dismissed. That the likelihood of that conversation going south is very, very high than if both of us recognize that we feel dismissed and take a moment to pause so that we are able to hear the other person and guide the direction to where it's supposed to go. So let's talk about what emotional regulation actually looks like. Emotional regulation is the muscle that kind of supports emotional intelligence, right? It's like the salt to the intelligence to food. You get what I'm saying? So it's the practice of, like I'm saying, pausing, taking a deep breath, recognizing when your body is being flooded by emotions, choosing clarity instead of chaos, and letting your logic and maturity come back outside of the emotions. So I'm going to teach us something very, very important about our bodies. Our nervous system is built such that if it senses any danger, it reacts, right? Because I think they talk about our survival before. Nowadays we live in houses, and it's also why we were able to grow and to be very, very intelligent, right? So as a human being, your body receives signals. It has a system that sends signals to your brain and tells your brain how to react. Now, our brains, like I've learned from the book Atomic Habits, can be trained on how to react to various things, right? So, for example, if I have a pattern of when I'm scared, I run, I'll always run. You get what I'm saying? Because my body has known that. Like, imagine, say something like fire. If something starts burning, something sends a signal to your brain like, this is dangerous and we need to put it out, or we need to run, leave the house and everything. We can't be in the house while it's still burning. And it even tells you that's not the time to pick your phone. That's not. So I'm trying to explain to you that your body is designed like that, such that it sends you signals. It sends signals to your brain that help you react to situations you get. And so that's why I started saying that our emotions are not a bad thing, good or bad. They're trying to tell you something. And the first step of being an emotionally intelligent person is recognizing that sometimes, and I hear people say that all emotions are valid, but I'd like to refute that and say not all emotions are valid, but every emotion is important in its own right and its own regard. And when you listen to it, it might teach you something about yourself, about the other person, and it might help you be able to respond to situations and to issues better. So then it's not valid because sometimes you're feeling something based out of fear. And so you say, no, my emotions are valid. They're important. They're not valid. Let me debunk that for you, right? So what I've learned about our bodies, the way they've been made by God, is in that they send you signals. So, and usually as a human being, you had systems to be modeled on how to react to different things, different emotions from a child. So of course our childhood plays a very big role into who we actually become when it comes to emotional intelligence. So for example, if you grow up in a house when someone is angry, they break things, the likelihood of you feeling anger and breaking things as an adult is very, very big if you don't recognize it, right? If you grew up in a house where if you're mad, you yell, that was modeled for you, and so if you are allowed to be that kind of a person, then it becomes like second nature to you, because again, like I've said, our brains are trainable. They catch on to things very, very fast. And so I read something from the book The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. Brianna West teaches us that it's very, very, very important for you to listen to your body. Listen, usually it will send you, you'll feel something in your throat, you'll feel something at the pit of your stomach, you'll feel something right here in your chest or just beneath your chest. It's trying to tell you something. And in that moment, when you feel like, for example, something in the pit of your stomach, maybe it's fear, you need to ground yourself and name it and say, I feel scared. And then you need to ask yourself, is this grounded on logic, or is this grounded by maybe something that I've seen before and my body is used to responding like this, so I feel scared? That is what it means. You cannot skip that step where you actually feel something, right? So the minute you feel that something in your throat, you need to slow down and ask, what could my body be trying to tell me? What am I feeling in this moment? And name that feeling. And then start to ask yourself, if what I'm feeling is pain, for example, or if I'm feeling hurt, why am I hurt? Is it something that was said? Then if it's something that was said, then you start to ask yourself, is it what was said right now? Or is it that what was said triggered something from my past, right? And so if it triggered something from your past, that's your body telling you that, one, you need to work on that. Because if you don't work on that, anytime you feel this familiar feeling, you might take it out on this person when that's not what they were trying to tell you. If they really, really did say something that hurt you in that moment and it's not rooted in your past, then maybe the best thing is to say, I don't like what you've said because it has hurt me and it has made me feel A, B, C, D. Can we maybe try and work around that before we even proceed with the rest of the conversation or the rest of the meeting or whatever is happening? And that is exactly what it means to be emotionally intelligent. It's starting to teach your body that it's okay to listen to it, because like I've said, you probably have a history of your whole childhood, 20 something years, 30 something years, 40 something years of feeling things and ignoring. And so also remember, like I've said, you can train your mind. So if you've been training it to ignore things, to shut it down, you feel something in your stomach and you're just like, not even gonna pay attention to that, it will quickly learn that you don't process your emotions, right? That even if it sends you signals, then what? So it will be sending you signals, but instead of you being able to work around them, they are quickly dismissed, because again, your brain is built such that it can build a habit in that regard, a good one or even a bad one. And this is something very, very important that I had to learn from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It teaches us that every habit, good or bad, can be formed with repetition. So every time you repeat, every time your body sends you a signal and you don't listen, and it does that again and that again and that again, and you don't honor it and you don't listen, then it gets used to, we don't do that here. And so that's how we end up with emotionally immature, or rather not intelligent people or individuals. And so the first step you're going to take is to learn to listen to your body. When you feel that thing in your stomach, when you feel it in your chest, when you feel it in your throat, analyze that. Slow down. Time is not going anywhere. Slow down to ask yourself, I wonder why I felt that. Try to be present in your body, in your mind. Try to feel everything. If you feel your hands start to, and usually it's automatic because you've gotten used to it so much. And so you started by feeling something in your stomach, and all of a sudden your feet are tight, and it's like anger, this very very bad anger is coming, because usually what happens is one thing builds to another, builds to another, builds to another, and then it becomes a whole eruption, a whole volcano, right? And so this are called to you that the first step you need to do is to learn to listen to your body. No matter what happens, when your body sends you a signal, when you feel that thing in your stomach, when you feel that thing in your chest, when you feel that thing on your throat, remember it's trying to tell you something. And usually it's different things based off of the situation and the circumstance. So there's no one of that. If you feel this way, then this is what it means. It's what it means is highly dependent on the environment and the situation. And remember, name the emotion. Name it. Say, I feel angry. I feel mad. Even if you don't do it out loud, name it internally. When you give it a name, then that means you're able to work around it. Say, I feel very, very excited right now. And maybe I'll make a decision based off of my excitement. Or, just so many things. We've seen it happen. We can also make very bad decisions based off of our excitement, for example. I think there's also, we've seen so many mistakes happen even in relationships. The first few days can be very, very exciting to our systems and our emotions, and our bodies releasing all these feel-good hormones, and we mistake that relationship to be something that we need to make very permanent decisions for, when maybe that's not even the case. You get what I'm saying? So every emotion is important, but that is highly dependent on what you do to process that emotion. And this matters because in every relationship, every friendship, every romantic relationship, even a co-worker interaction, even family, people who cannot regulate the emotions eventually damage the connections they care about. Because say me and a friend get into an argument, but because I'm afraid of having difficult conversations, maybe they call me out on something that I did, and I get scared. Instead of being able to listen and apologize, I'll react out of my fear. You see why it's very, very important for you to learn how to listen to your body and how to process. And there's something they say that when you have a not so normal what situation, like for example, like I've said with fire, like if I see fire today, I'll become more alert because I activate a part of my brain called the amygdala. It's in the limbic system, and so when I activate it, it helps me stay more alert. And it happens a lot, especially with the not so good situations, because usually when I'm happy in my calm era, when I'm not being driven by a lot of emotions, the prefrontal cortex is what is leading me. And when the prefrontal cortex is in control, it means I'm able to do things in a sane manner, or rather in a manner that I'm supposed to be doing those things. But when the prefrontal cortex takes over, it's usually fight and flight mode, it's survival mode. And we've talked about this by the way in previous videos. So if you're here and you've not listened to our previous videos, I think I've touched on this almost in every topic, because it plays a very, very big role in almost every topic of our lives. And so remember, when I get scared, my body sends a signal. I know what happens there. The limbic system is now alert, the amygdala is alert, and now I'm in fight and flight mode. So it means even if I was having a conversation with my friend, I'll not be able to listen to them. Because for me to be at my best, I need my prefrontal cortex to be the one that's in control. And how you do that is by breathing, taking a pause. These are very important things. I recognize that I'm scared. I tell my brain, it's okay. Or I tell myself, it's okay. Just take a deep breath. Right? I'm calming down the limbic system, and I'm telling the prefrontal cortex, I want you to take over, because you're more able to help me make more sane decisions. You're more able to help me listen to this other person, so that we can make very, very important decisions. So you become emotionally intelligent by being aware of what you're feeling and how you and what your body is telling you. So always ask yourself in those very, especially the very the very what tense moments, right? Ask yourself, why am I feeling that thing in my stomach? Why am I feeling that thing in my chest? Why am I feeling that thing in my throat? And then name it. If it's fear, if it's anger, if it's frustration, if it's being dismissed, you can just say, you can tell yourself, I feel very, very dismissed right now. And the minute you do that, the minute you name it, you allow your brain to process it, because now your brain begins to ask itself, and you train it to ask itself, why am I feeling dismissed? What could be going on? And then if it's something that has happened before, your brain has a way of traveling back, and so it can remind you, oh, this is like that situation. And I don't know if you guys get that, like sometimes you're talking with someone, and instead of listening to them, you go like, okay, here we go again, I've seen this before. No, you've not seen that before, by the way, because this is another person. You've not seen that before, but your body felt that, and maybe it didn't process that, and so it's kind of like trying to take you back. And so you need to go back and address that situation and remind yourself that that situation is not this one, and so you need to look at this one with lenses of right now, not lenses of the past. This is it's something that's very, 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 very important. And so you process it. That for example, for some people means sitting with it. For me, I sit with it. I sit with it, I listen to myself, and usually my mind is trying to go through what I'm feeling. There are people who journal, they have to write down what they're feeling, why they think they might be feeling the way they are feeling. There are people who walk, they just say, you know what, I'm going to take a walk to calm down. I don't know if you've ever been in an argument with someone and they say, this is getting out of hand, I'm going to take a walk. And let's revisit this conversation in an hour when we're both calmer. For other people, it's just to breathe. And that's, I usually find like that, especially if, for example, you're in a meeting, you can't just walk out. I usually find like breathing is one of the easiest ways to calm down your limbic system and now allow your prefrontal cortex to take over. And then from there, you get to choose your response. And your response will not be based off of unprocessed emotions. It will be based off of processed emotions. And so this is something that I keep saying, it's not a one-time thing. It's a practice. It's something you have to keep doing and keep doing and keep doing. And the more you do it, the more you will learn to be emotionally intelligent. So like for me, I think, just to give you a small story as I wind up this session, for me, I used to be a person who used to shut down a lot, because the minute someone would seem to say like I didn't do something well, my emotions would take over. I'd feel something right here, and I knew like if I talk, I'm gonna cry, and so I didn't want to cry, and so my solution was just to keep quiet. Now, keeping quiet does not help anyone, because it's not moving the conversation ahead. It's not helping the relationship. It's not helping the friendship. It's not helping the meeting. It's not even helping your co-workers. Because why are you quiet? Because you should be able to air your opinions, your voice. You should also be able to listen to this other person. You should be able to say, I don't like that you said that to me. Can you please rephrase? Can you apologize? You should be able to speak up for yourself. And so for me, when I started to travel back, I found that it was deeply related to my childhood and a lot of things that had happened in my childhood. And so I had to work around that. And so right now, I still get into very tense conversations with people I love, but I take a moment when I'm feeling like I want to go on shutdown mode. I just take a moment to say, can I have a minute? I go to the bathroom, I breathe, I sit still with my emotions, and so on and so forth. And so now I've become so much better. You won't find me like shutting down in a conversation. And even when I'm about to shut down, I quickly recognize that and I say, can I have a moment to just kind of process this, right? And then come back to you. And always go back to the conversation. Don't tell someone, can I have a moment, and then not go back to them. Please go back to them. and once you're calmer, and then you'll be able to respond from that area. And so if you take anything away tonight, is that emotional intelligence can be as simple as listen to your body, name what is happening, process, and then choose your response. But it's not a one time thing, it has to be something that you practice over and over and over again, so that your body gets used to that. Like I've said, it's a habit that you can form. And so by the time you do it for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, for 4 years, for 5 years, your body will have learned. And that is what it will mean to be an emotionally intelligent person. It's not that you never feel anything, it's that you feel, you process, and you do not respond from a place of your emotions. You respond from a place of processed emotions. You get what I'm saying? So, anyway, I think that's it from me from today. And next week, we are going to be talking about good communication and what that is. So, keep it growth, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.